Well, you might have seen it on the news. In December 2013, China successfully landed an unmanned probe on the moon. You can see video of the lunar rover landing on YouTube. The event has prompted debate over the potential exploitation of the moon's resources and who exactly owns rights to the Earth's only natural satellite. VOA's Henry Ridgwell in London has been looking at this story, and I talked with him about it. Let's check it out. Henry, tell us about this recent lunar landing by China and the debate that we've seen it prompt.
Well, it was a big step for China and a big step for the world. The world's first what they call soft lunar landing since 1976, achieved by the Chinese in mid-December. And they put a launcher on the moon, the Chang'e 3, and that also contained a moon buggy that is currently collecting samples of rocks from the moon for analysis back on Earth that will tell us whether the moon has any valuable resources and tell us a bit more about the formation of the moon. So a big step for science and a big step for China. Scientists behind the mission, like Xia Yang, are excited about what lies ahead.
Jade Rabbit is heading to the west now, where there's a pyramid-like rock around 30 meters away. The rock appears quite special, as it has a different shape from the other rocks.
Prior to the mission, Chinese scientists described the moon as being a potential source of minerals. But currently, no one can claim ownership of the moon, says Ian Crawford, Professor of Planetary Science at Birkbeck College, University of London.
The legal status of the moon is governed by the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, Article 2 of which specifically prohibits nation states from appropriating the moon.
And that treaty envisaged that only nation states would ever have the money and the resources and the capacity to get involved in this sort of mission. And it didn't mention private companies, which of course are expanding in a very big way into space exploration. We've got companies like Virgin Galactic, which hopes to take the first fee-paying passengers into space this year. Competitions like the Google Lunar X Prize, which will reward any private companies that manage to land a robotic mission on the surface of the moon and take photos and collect samples there. So there is a bit of a grey area within this treaty that doesn't cover what will happen if private companies get to the moon and they see some value in starting to mine minerals and bring these back home.
And Henry, this concept of unity under the moon is something that was explored in this exhibit that you covered in London. Tell us about what you saw there.
That's right. The exhibition is titled Republic of the Moon. It's touring Britain and various other countries as well. And it was triggered by this debate looking at who actually owns the moon, and the curator behind the exhibition says the motivation was the skepticism over exactly who owns the moon and those various loopholes that might be in there with private companies and so on. And so these artists were commissioned to make some pieces looking at that possibility. Rob Lafrene is curator of the exhibition.
We had this idea that the Republic of the Moon would be, in a sense, an imaginary country, but all the artists in Republic of the Moon have got their own individual reflections on what the moon means to them.
And many of them are quite, it's a very esoteric exhibition, a very modern conceptual exhibition, but many of them are quite moving and make you stop and pause and think. One of them sent a signal of a Beethoven composition, Moonlight Sonata, over to the moon, which was then bounced back to Earth. And the moon, the surface of the moon, because of the craters, interferes with that signal as it bounces back, and interferes with the music that's then played. So it gives you an idea of just thinking in your mind that the makeup, those craters on the moon, and what might be up there. And who might own that, and exactly what role the moon should play in our lives. Many different people around the world will have their own opinions about how they think about the moon, whether it even enters their lives, whether you, as it gets dark tonight, if you look into the sky, if it's a clear night, you'll see the moon, and you know, how do you feel about that? Should it be something that should be exploited, or should it be, you know, one of the last wildernesses that we have access to?
And again, our thanks to VOA's Henry Ridgwell in London. Now, U.S. law prohibits the country's space agency NASA from working with China, but academics from the U.S. and around the world have been exchanging questions and information about data from China's lunar rover in various forums.